In fact, I would encourage you when one of your coworkers asks you a question, ask them right back. Well, what do you think we should do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And see what they say and empower them that way. There's a great book called Turn the Ship Around by David Marquet. And he was in charge of a $2 billion submarine, the USS Santa Fe. And he would tell his crew, and by the way, they were the worst rated crew and turned around to the best rated crew in the Navy, which is pretty insane. But he would have them change their words, and the simple semantics was a huge difference for them. So instead of instructing them to dive down to a certain amount, he would say, where should we dive down to? And they would say, I intend to dive down to, let's say, 800 feet. And then he would say, proceed or not proceed. But by having that helmsperson saying what they intended to do, they owned it. That was their responsibility, and they gave it a lot more thought than just being a parrot and doing what they were told to do.
Yeah.
So that's a great example of empowerment.
Totally with you there. You know, inspiring team is important. Make sure the right team is at the right place. And yeah, anyway, I'm always trying to do that with my staff.
Now, do you have values for your business?
Do I have values for my business?
Yes, you just listed out your values.
No, you know, that's an interesting question. I wouldn't say that we necessarily have values. I mean, there's stuff that I think is intrinsic, but maybe not necessarily being written on the banner of the site like that maybe it should.
Sure. And it's more than just a writing. It's got to be your culture, right? It's part of who you are, right? If you don't create values, well, then you get values by default.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, okay. So actually we do have some values. So I'll just repeat them here. So first value is we do what we say we're going to do. Because nothing drives me more nuts than someone saying, I'm going to do it here. And it's not like, do what you say you'll do.
Yep.
We are going to continue to innovate and try the newest tech. We're always going to try the newest AI. And we're going to communicate promptly with each other. You know, so it's vertical and horizontal. So that's kind of, those are our core competencies, our core values.
It sounds like 1 and 3 are similar.
Pretty similar. Yeah.
But I would actually encourage you to figure out if you had some others. Get 4 to 5 values for your business. And the reason I say that, this goes back to our discussion about empowerment. When you have values, they replace you in a good way. So, for example, one of your values is to get back to people, right? So if you're away at a conference and this emergency comes in and they can't reach you, well, they know this person that's calling needs to be returned a call right away because that's one of our values. We got to get back to them. Even if it's, hey, I haven't spoken to Mark yet and I need more time, but they know without you being there what to do.
Yeah.
And it allows you to be free up your time so that you don't have to make every decision. They can just look at the values. One of ours in our law firm is to be honest, even with bad news. And, you know, when you do 3,000 to 4,000 tickets a year, it's a lot of balls in the air, right? And I could be honest with you, once in a while, not often, but once in a while, we make a mistake because we're human, right? It happens. And when we do, they don't need to call me and say, hey, Matt, you know, the lawyer didn't show up for this case because I forgot to send him the paperwork, and now we got to get him a new date or plead him guilty. And so they know, all right, we got to be honest, even though it's bad news. They call up and say, hey, I know this is what's happened. This is not what we normally do. We're sorry. I know it doesn't make us, you know, it doesn't help you because out of the thousands of people, you're the one that get affected. But we're going to, you know, refund your money, and we apologize for this incident. And we're going to, next time you have a ticket, please call us back. We're going to take extra care of it. But they don't need me. They literally don't need me.
So you have the values, input, you've empowered the team.
It's telling what to do. You're empowered. You know what to do. As long as you follow those values, I can't get mad. I can't get angry. You're doing what I would do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I'm going to definitely put that on my list. And everyone who's watching on YouTube, I commend and I'd ask you to do the same. List your core values. And I'll probably use ChatGPT to help me out because, I mean,
that's a bad idea.
Right? Why? I can't use that. The robots can't tell you what to do.
You can't use it for everything. All right, so this is the exercise. I'm going to encourage you to do this exercise. I'm going to sit down with your team and ask them, what are the qualities of an ideal customer?
Okay.
What are the qualities of an ideal customer? And people may say honesty and integrity. You'll combine those into one. But whatever those 4 or 5 items are, those likely are going to be your values.
Sure.
So
that makes sense.
It's a great way to not say, hey, what are our values? Because then people come up with stuff. But if you ask them and they relate it to actual customers they dealt with and what the right way is to deal with customers, then it's kind of like, I won't say cheating, but it's kind of an indirect way to get out what you really should be doing in terms of your.
Well, I also think it's really good to have the team invest in as many decisions as possible.
100%, especially that, right? That's a core function. Is what are we here for? How do we deliver our business? Right. And if they don't buy in, then you're nowhere, right? So
right.
For sure, including them in that is a great process.